I'm here to explain the features and the operating procedures of our Allvac AV850 Hydrovac trailer. So here we've just got a standard inch and 7/8 ball. It's got some keys there for locking the coupling there. Braking system, so it's just one attachment to the vehicle, no need for any chains or anything extra like that. Also automatically detects when you're reversing, so you don't have to do anything, flick anything off when you're reversing. Here we've got our handbrake. Currently it's on. That's in the travel mode, so that's off. When we're parked up somewhere, we flick that on. And our standard jack for jacking it off the vehicle. Further to the front here, we've got our cone holder, so we can stick our cones on there. And then we've got our combination of suction wands here. So standard wand, that's just a standard 3-inch wand that you'd use in combination with your water blaster nozzle. So that's pretty standard. And then we have this other one here that's what we call our combination suction wand. So great for starting off. A nice clean cut, so we put our suctioned pipe onto the top here, and we put our water blaster pressure fitting onto the fitting there, so that we can alter it and turn it off and on, and we can cut a really nice hole, nice 6-inch hole, 150mm hole, with the twin nozzles underneath there. So what we do is we start that off, we turn our vacuum on, we plug into the water pressure, and we start both of them, and we can just work backwards and forwards like that, cutting holes in a sequence like that. Keeps it really clean and really tidy. So great bit of kit that is. So for travelling always, we're always going to put them both back up there, and we're going to latch it and make sure we put the safety latch in there as well. As we come round on the driver's side of the unit, and here we've got our main vac pump. So in here, what we really notice, check from time to time, is we don't get that needle doesn't go anywhere near 15, so it needs to operate between sort of 14 and 10. So we've got those little indicators there. You'll hear when it's if you've got a blocked hose or something, it'll start sucking air in through there. That's just to safeguard the pump. And here we've got our wheel chocks, a couple of wheel chocks there for safety when we're disconnected, or if we're parked on a hill as well. And then just through the back here, we've got, of course, our 500 litre water tank, stand for filling straight through the top there. So at the back here, we've got a couple of filtration compartments. So up the front of the vac tank, we've got our primary shut-off. So we've got a little ball on a cage there that we'll look at shortly when we open the back up. That comes through to here and comes through to the cyclone here, which is the first compartment that we collect any debris that might be in the airstream. So really important, when we unload the tank, every time we unload, we're always going to take that out and give it a wash out. So this here is just, it spins the air in a cyclonic form here. It drops anything out in the middle there before the clean air travels on through to this next stage. So just really important, every time we unload the tank, we're always going to undo this and give it a quick wash out with our water blaster. And then on the other side here, so we go from here through, and we have a secondary filtration here, which is the final stage before the air goes through the vacuum pump. So really crucial if we're getting a lack of vacuum, that there could be an indication that the filter is blocked. So I won't take it right out now, but we have a mesh filter in behind here, so it's just a matter of undoing that there. And we can wash that on site with water pressure, and then of course every day we want to check that at the end of the day to make sure that it's clean and clear of any debris and dust. So just remembering that this first stage we empty every load, this one here we'll check every day. We've got our sight glasses here, so it indicates where our level is. This is always our suction line, so we've got our suction hose on the side here, pop it into there, and then obviously our discharge as well there. Really simple for opening the back up. Normally we'd run we'd have it under vacuum. So we'd put the vacuum pump on and we'd have it under vacuum to release that the first bit, and then we release it right out until it comes free. And we see that it's free there. And then we'll stand back and we'll go around to the control panel and we'll turn the vacuum pump off. That'll then stop the vacuum and the door will open up. And then at that point in time we'll then turn the hoist, put the hoist up with our hoist controller at the front and empty everything out. And when I start it up shortly, I'll show you the first intake inside the tank there, that when we empty the tank, we always need to make sure that's clean as well. So super simple. And then once again for doing up, we've washed our main seal, and then we're going to wind this back in here like this. We do it hand tight like that. Then we start our vacuum pump and make sure that both inlets and outlets are closed, and then you'll see it pull vacuum and you'll get probably another wind and a bit out of it. Then it means it's nice and tight and connected up to the rubber seal there. A daily check is our little water filter here, so pulling the water out of the water tank here, always a visual, but if you're getting any sort of debris or anything like that in there, always make sure that's nice and clean, and always replace, never use it without the cartridge in there as well. It's only clean water, so just be really careful. Some of the bigger cities, they'll refill you with recycled water. Just be really aware and keep an eye on that filter. Here we've got our storage for our water blaster nozzle, and through the back here we've got our reel. Simple quick release fittings, and of course always release the pressure with the pressure cleaner off. Release that before we undo that. Real simple. And then we just reset it again. Another feature too, you'll see these little stays here. Now they're stays that we will put on the hydraulic hoist cylinders if we've got the hoist up and we're having to do any work under there. So they're just a safety prop. So in here we've got our instruction manual, and in there we've also got our contacts for if we have any issues on site. We can ring either of our customer service team listed there, so really helpful. And then there's just an operator's manual and so forth there, so that always stays with the unit. In here we've got our daily checks, so we've got our diesel fill up the top there, we've got our oil dipstick in there, and there's our little water blaster here with the inspection to make sure it's got the correct oil level up in the front here. So always just check that daily. You can see through there the oil level sitting at the correct level. Here we've got our main control panel. So in here, we're going to come in here, we're going to turn the battery isolator so that it's unlocked. So now we have power to everything. And then once we've got power, we can then turn the ignition on to there, and we see the little lights all light up. We wait for the glow light to go off, so that'll turn green. That gives us the indication that we can start the engine. It's a diesel engine, so always make sure that we're putting diesel fuel in it. Once we've started it, I won't start it right now. Once we've started it, we then pull the throttle right out as far as we can go, and we can wind it out so it's a bit further. So we want to give it full revs. And then when we're using our water blaster, with that fully out, we're going to run our water blaster, we can turn that on, and that'll cycle between when we're using it and not using it, so it's on a clutch system inside there. So we're not doing any harm if that's turned on and we're not using the water blaster. Got work lights, so we've got our 2 work lights up the top here, and you'll also notice too that as soon as we turn the ignition on, we've got some little warning flashes both at the front and the back, so they'll always go whenever the ignition's on. Of course, any issues, emergency stop. Now some of the models also, they have a 10-second delay, so you push it and it may not stop immediately. It will stop after about 5 seconds, so just always make sure that's released. And here we've got our little hoist control, so we're going to pull that out. We can stand over here in a safe distance, and we can operate our hoist up and down. So we can put the hoist right up like that. So I was saying earlier about the safety prop. So this is a little safety prop. undo these bolts here, and they slide on. They slide on like that, and so that just means then that the hoist can't go up and down. So just if you had to do any work in there, or you wanted to wash it, or you had to have somebody do something underneath there, always make sure you put them on both sides, so one each side. Pretty simple, and then just a matter of screwing them again with the little bolts. So I've taken the battery isolator off. I've got the ignition turned on. We've got all the lights showing that we've got all the correct functions. Those other lights will go off once we start, and once we get a green light there, we can start the little diesel motor. There we go. So we've got vacuum on the door system at the moment, so I didn't wind it right up before, so once we've got vacuum on, we can wind it right up like that, and then we can release the vacuum there. So to come and unload, we want to open the back door up. We've drained all their water out, then we're going to come up like this, and we're going to undo it like that. The vacuum is still holding the door shut, so we don't have to worry about that. We're not going to come around and turn the vacuum pump off. And we then have the release of the vacuum, which then means the door will open. And let me just put the hoist up so I can show you inside. So we're going to wash out inside there. Up inside, you can see right up in the middle, up at the top, up in the front there, we can see the little ball on its cage. To make sure that when we're emptying, we've always got that nice and clean. Wash that out, and also wash out the screw in here where this the door goes back into there. So always make sure that's nice and clean. So once we've washed everything out, we're going to put the hoist back down again. But before we do that, we're going to make sure that the rubber here is all really nice and clean. So use your water blast to get that nice and clean on both sides. So not only this side, but also the side of the door as well. And also remembering that we're going to take that there off. We're going to have that off, and we're going to give that a wash out as well at the same time. Remember, every time we open the back door up or we empty, we're always going to wash that area out. Really important. Put the hoist back down. And I want to show you what I mean by letting the vacuum pull it up. So I'm going to wind that back in there. We've got a nice clean door seal. We can take it in as far as we can like that. That's not going to be enough. So that's as tight as we can go there. I'm going to start the vacuum pump up, and I'll shut this here and I'll show you how much more you can get this wound up. So let me start the vacuum pump. So we've got vacuum pulling through here. I'm going to pull that there up like that. That's pulling the door up nice and tight against the rubber. You see how much more I can get out of that. So basically get another turn out of it. Just means it seals properly on the rubber itself without us having to force it. And then we can just open that gear up. It's a bit noisy. And we can turn the vacuum pump off. So once again, once we're finished, we're moving to the next site. We fold all this away. Not necessary to turn the battery isolator off between jobs, but obviously at the end of the day we want to turn that off as well. So we're finished for the day. We're going to shut that up. If we ever parked on the side of the road or anything like that, we want to be parked where there's public possibly walking past. Put a padlock on there. That basically isolates everything. No one can touch anything. No one can turn anything on then. So great. Have fun using your AV850 hydrovac trailer.